Can you tell I just came from the gym? Be honest with me. Hey guys, my name is Nat. I hope you're having a terrific day today, and for this video we are going to be doing my June TBR. First off, when I am filming this, there is a week left in May, and that just doesn't seem right. June can't be starting because May just started. How? Before we get into all of the books that I have planned for the month of May, I first say that June is Pride Month, and so my theme going into June is gay! Yep, that's right. I'm reading lots of LGBT plus themed books and I'm so excited about it. Also, along with that, there is a romance-based readathon going on this month being hosted by some lovely booktubers, and I thought this would be a perfect excuse to read tons of LGBT plus romance books that I have just been really feeling lately. So, you know, sticking with the theme of pride and then working with the romance aspects, like, yes, let's go. I'm gonna have a very happy-go-lucky month. Hopefully. That's possibly, I don't know, one of these books might not quite fit that. So as usual, we will have the breakdown based on the books I have for my reading goals of the month, then my book clubs, finally the readathon, and maybe a secret TBR or two. First, for my reading goals of the month, I have a nonfiction book, and I'm going to be reading All Boys Aren't Blue by George M. Johnson, and I believe this is a memoir written by a LGBT plus activist discussing all of the things that come with growing up, and I've heard nothing but good things about this. I've been really wanting to pick it up, and finally I have an excuse to do it. Plus, look at this cover. It is absolutely gorgeous. Next is a backlisted book, and I make it be a book that is more than 5 years old based on publication, and so I am going with Fence by C.S. Pacat and Joanna the I believe is the illustrator. I believe this is a gay sports romance following the illegitimate son of a fencing champion who gets into this really prestigious school and starts to try and compete on the fencing team, and he has to go up against his half-brother as well as this like new hotshot fencing champion dude that is very attractive. And I've heard good things about this from the people who have read it, but I don't know a lot of people who have. I'm very intrigued about it. I do know C.S. Pacat has another really big name LGBT plus series. I really want to say Cruel Prince, but that's not. The Captive Prince, that's it. Plus, I've never seen fencing as a sports romance before, so I'm very intrigued to see that. Next up is a diverse read, and I'm going to be completely honest, I'm not 100% sure if this will remain the same, but possibly I will be picking up the second book in An Ember in the Ashes series by Sabaa Tahir. Full transparency, I have not started this first one. I am hoping to finish it this month still, and if I enjoy it, then I'm planning to pick up the second one. If I don't, then I might have to find another book. We'll see. I don't know. I still don't really know a lot about what this series is, but I believe it is following two people who are on opposite sides of this royal empire and eventually start working together to build a resistance and go against it. I really think I heard someone say that it was based on Roman history, but I'm not 100% sure on if that's true or not. Eventually I will finally start this, hopefully in like the next day or so. Yeah, because May is almost over and still haven't done that. Next up is a adult read, and for this one I'm going with Wolfsong by TJ Klune. This is a werewolf LGBT plus romance series, and as it has been told to me from Paige at the PM Reader, who is the #1 TJ Klune stan, it is filled with angst and it is super dramatic, and so this is the only one that might possibly rip my heart out this month. I don't know, we'll see, but I am very intrigued by it. Your girl used to love Teen Wolf fanfiction, so this feels like it's gonna match that same kind of vibe, and I'm into it. I'm liking it. If you haven't heard me gush about The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune, here it is again. I adore that book. It is so good. It's my new comfort read, and I've been really wanting to pick up some more of his backlist, so I asked Paige which of his series she recommended I should start with. Naturally, she told me both were amazing, so it made it for a harder decision, but I do think this one does seem like it might appeal to me more, at least in this moment. We'll see though. Next is a YA book, and for this one I will be reading Heartstopper by Alice Oseman. This is the first books to read in the OSEMAN read-along, which is taking place and being hosted by Katie Can't Read and the Petite Punk. I will put a link to all that read-along info in the description down below. I don't actually own these physically, but I will be reading them on Tapas, and I'll put a link to that in the description down below. Also, if you're interested, it is a free webcomic channel where you can read different webcomics, including all of Heartstopper and more than what has actually been published physically. This is a graphic novel series following Nick and Charlie, and it is just so sweet and wholesome and adorable. I have actually read most of this and kept up. I am a few episodes behind right now, but I've been wanting an excuse to read some more of Alice Oseman's other works, and I thought this read-along would be the perfect reason to do that. Finally, for the newest addition to my reading goals, a reread, I will be reading Check Please by 𝗖cielich𝘁்𝘁. Obviously, as I said, Heartstopper could also technically count for this, but I am using Check Please as the official one since I own these physically, and I've never actually broken into them because I initially read this on the website that the author used to post to, but my wonderful friend Allie was nice enough to buy them for me physically because I just totally fell in love with this series. I stayed up way too late reading it when I had to like wake up super early the following morning and go volunteer, and since then I've just been hooked. This is also a graphic novel series and is following Eric Biddle after he has gone to college and is trying to join this hockey team, but he literally cannot take a hit. He initially was actually a figure skater. He also loves to bake and is trying to make himself a home on his hockey team, and it is just, again, so pure, so wholesome, so adorable. I love it. It's so cute. Eric is like one of the cutest characters ever. 𝗖cie is like my favorite person on earth. Yes, his name is 𝗖cie. You heard me right. Next, I have my book clubs, which I always participate in, and although the book hasn't actually been announced yet, the Buy Book Club pick would certainly fit in with my Pride theme I'm doing this month, so I will probably be reading that, whatever it is. Next, for my personal book club, I will be reading One to Watch by Kate Stayman London, and this is, I believe, a romance story following a woman who is a plus-size blogger, and she is a big fan of this TV show that's reminiscent to The Bachelor, and she complains online about the lack of diversity on the show and actually ends up getting picked to be like the next big bachelorette for the following season, and then it just details her ridiculous shenanigans she gets into on the show. I've heard some good things and I've heard some bad things about this one. I am a little bit hesitant just because personally I'm not a Bachelor fan. I don't really get into it. Next, for the Sugar and Spice Book Club, I will be reading One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston, and I am so excited for this one. I believe it is a semi-sci-fi romance following two women, and one girl ends up discovering that her crush, who she constantly sees on the subway, is actually stuck in some kind of a time loop and is supposed to actually live in 1970. I'm so excited for this, guys. It's like a sapphic Kate and Leopold, and I mean, I adored Red, White, and Royal Blue, so naturally I cannot wait to read more of Casey McQuiston's work. Next, another possible that I'm still not 100% sure if I will be picking up is the second book in the series that the Sugar and Spice Book Club is doing for this second quarter of the year. That one is Love Her or Lose Her by Tessa Bailey, and I believe this one is a second chance romance following this couple who ends up doing marriage boot camp essentially to try and save their relationship. I still haven't picked up Fix Her Up by Tessa Bailey, but I'm intrigued to see whether or not I like the writing style, just because some of the things I've heard about it do sound like things that would bug me. So if those are an issue, I might not pick this one up, but at the same time, it's second chance romance, and I do like that trope, so I'm also intrigued. We'll see. As I already mentioned, I'm also doing the OSEMAN read-along, and we'll be reading the first 4 volumes of Heartstopper. I think that's what's currently been published, even though I think it's up to like 6 on Tapas and Webtoon. I should probably double check on that. Next up, as I mentioned, I will be partaking in one readathon this month, and that is going to be Romanceathon, which I believe is running from June 12th to the 18th. Yes, I will put links to all of that stuff in the description down below if you're interested in partaking, but essentially there are 7 different prompts, I believe, and all of them are based around romance books. I have just been really feeling romance lately, so thought this would be a great excuse to read some of those. First up, there is a group read, which is also a gay romance, and it is Someday Someday by Emma Scott. I believe this story is following a nurse who gets a new charge, which is this older CEO gentleman whose health is declining, and while caring for him, the nurse starts to fall for the CEO's handsome son, who is supposed to be tasked with taking over his father's company, but his father wants him to be like the perfect heir and all that drama, which basically is just code for homophobia. I've never heard about this at all, but it fits with the whole theme that I'm doing this month, so I figured why not, I'll try it out. Next up is to pick a cover you love, and for that one I am probably going to be going with Check Please by 𝗖cielich𝘁்𝘁 again, because I truly adore these covers. They're so cute and they just totally match the entire feel of the story, so Yeah, definitely this one. Along with that, this could also count for the BIPOC author prompt because Ngozi Okazu is African American, so perfect. Following that, the next prompt is out of your comfort zone, and I think for this one I'm going to go with Fence by C.S. Pacat, just because fencing sports romance, again, not something I'd ever seen before, not something I've ever tried before. Sports romance in general, just not something I've delved a lot into, so intrigued to see how that goes. Next is to read a indie romance book, and technically speaking, Someday could count for this. However, another book I am looking into is I Am in the Silence by Kelly York and Rowan Atwood, and this is the second book in a series whose name I totally just forgot. Dark is the Night. I read the first book in this series for my historical fiction 555. It is a paranormal historical mystery kind of story with a LGBT romance as well, and this is following William and James from the first book again after they have graduated from their boarding school, and now they are both working as detectives, I think, and they get roped into this possibly paranormal mystery again. I think with this one, however, it is from William's point of view, where the first one was actually from James's, and I'm very excited about it. I just don't know if I'll really have the time for it. Next is a backlisted book from a favorite author, and as I already mentioned, I love TJ Klune now, so Wolfsong could definitely count for this one. After that is a new to you author, and either Someday by Emma Scott or Fence by C.S. Pacat could count for this. And then finally, a hate to love romance, and I'm not 100% certain on this, but I think Fence by C.S. Pacat could also count for this. If they're not enemies, they're at the very least competitive rivals in fencing. If it's not quite hate, there's at least gonna be tension. You feel? You feel. Okay, y'all, so that is it. If you have read any of these books, please let me know in the comments down below what you thought of them. As always, thank you so much for coming to my channel today, guys. I really appreciate it. Make sure to hit like and subscribe down below. I come out with videos on Monday and Friday, but until then, I hope you continue to have a terrific day. Bye!